Hello everybody. This is a handheld video I'm going to do, so I hope I don't shake all over the place. I'm driving, headed to Utah for Christmas. There's a cabin up there. We're going to have about 25 family members there. Really looking forward to it. But anyhow, this is the follow-up from the live stream I did yesterday. There was something I wanted to talk about, and I never got around to talking about it. I know the attention span of a lot of people isn't that long anyhow, so it probably works out better this way. But do y'all remember the fall of 2008 when we had the economic turn down? Basically, we went into a recession. And the reasons that were given by mainstream media, the government, you know, all the talking heads, it was the toxic loans, the subprime loans of Freddie Mae and Fannie Mac. Did I get that right? Something like that. I was livid as soon as I heard that, because I knew they were passing the buck. That's all they were doing. They're passing the buck onto all those people that had the subprime loans, which were primarily young people and primarily minorities. And I was like, you rotten SOBs. So here's what happened. If you look at the timeline, the raising of the interest rates by the Fed happened 6 months to a year before those subprime loans went toxic. So what caused those subprime loans to go toxic? If you listen to mainstream media, the talking heads, the government officials, the banks, oh, it was all those low-life people that got those subprime loans because they would not pay their mortgages. That's what they kept saying over and over and over. I had some of my most intense arguments over that whole thing, especially with one particular family member. I couldn't get it through her head. So what actually caused those subprime loans to go toxic? Well, I'll tell you what, it was clear as a bell to me. It's when they raised the interest rates. Because you have all these young people that are getting a start in life, wanted to have families, you know, have the experience the American dream. And as soon as the economy got going good, and it was going good for a while there, you know, they got jobs. They got some really, you know, they're in the workforce now. What do you do when you get out of high school or college and go in the workforce? Well, you start planning on having a family, of course. But you're low man on the totem pole. Things go bad. You're the first one to get fired. You're the first one to get laid off. How do I know this? Well, it happened to one of my sons, for sure. Actually, it happened to two of my sons. I saw it. Saw it with my own two eyes. I laid off all of my employees. Okay? That's why I knew what was going on. That's why I was so incredulous that they actually had the balls, the nerve to blame these young people for what they intentionally did. They intentionally tanked the economy. Let me go over that one more time for those that do not understand. Okay. We had this boom going. Lots of work going everywhere. Lots of new jobs, lots of new people in the workforce. Okay? The fall of 2008, the Fed basically raised interest rates so high and made it so difficult to get a loan that your big companies that were expanding and actually over-expanded couldn't keep things going when they went go to a new project, or, you know, had to do some more manufacturing of some critical infrastructure, any number of things. They couldn't get loans. What'd they do? Well, you know that big new workforce they had? They started laying people off. And you know who the first ones get laid off were? The young people. The people that had the subprime loans. And those loans went toxic 6 months to a year after the Fed pulled this crap, raised the interest rates. Now, I don't care what they say about young people. They threw them under the bus so bad. You take a young couple, you know, they're just getting started. Maybe they have their first child, second child. That man, that couple, will do all they can to keep that house. They'll go to work anywhere to take care of their family, keep a roof over their head, keep food on the table. And you had all these rich CEO bankers that purposely collapse the economy. You know how I know purposely? What happened to the banks? What happened to those big CEOs? Oh, they got a bailout. Billions of dollars. What was it, like $90 billion? And the CEOs, they got this big golden parachute. There was one guy got $600 million. They were the ones making the subprime loans. What the hell? Yeah, they did it on purpose. And here's where it gets really crazy. They got these bailouts, right? American taxpayer bailed them out. Yeah. Did you know those banks got 3 times the original loans? Penn and Teller did a whole thing on this, and a whole expose. You know who Penn and Teller is? The magicians? They know all about sleight of hand, and they saw it. They got, from the United States government, the taxpayer, I should say, they got the dollar amount of the original loans back to the banks. The banks got to keep the friggin' houses. What the hell? Why didn't they just give them to the people? No, I can't do that. Yeah. Then they got to resell them after a period of time at the inflated prices. They end up getting 3 times the original loan. Research it. This is common knowledge. I mean, I knew about it. Then I saw Penn and Teller. And you go to YouTube and listen to what Penn and Teller says about that whole thing. The magicians, Penn and Teller, they know all about sleight of hand. Now, there was, I forget how many billions of dollars that was included in that bailout for an economic recovery. Do you remember that? The economic recovery. Did you know that only about 15%, the last I checked, of that money's ever made it back into the private sector? That was meant for an economic recovery. The banks kept it. People, this is how they work. This is how they roll. This is how they roll. And then we had Congress that got them up there and threw softballs at them. The banks actually threatened Congress. You remember that? Threatened Congress that they would pull all of the money out of the economy and that we'd be under martial law and there'd be riots in the streets. They did. Do you remember that? They threatened Congress with that. They threatened the American people with that. These banks, their owners, are horrible. They have a track record that goes way back in destroying the middle class of society. And they're about ready to do it again if Trump doesn't do something. I had a long talk with my friend, Lieutenant Colonel Roy Potter, last night. He concurs. This is their plan. I had a long talk with Carl Koenigs, a pretty dang good economist in his own right. He concurs. We see what they're doing. They want to destroy this administration by destroying the economy and making him look like a total buffoon. And in some ways, he brought it on to himself. I got to say, he should have had, you know, some sort of, I mean, he took all the credit. Okay? You can't do that. Should have a caveat, said that this happens and this happens, it's because of the new policies. Don't get up there and start pounding on your chest, you know. He's an extreme narcissist. I see that. But that's the type of person we actually needed, because nobody else is willing to take these people on. He's an alpha male extreme narcissist, and he will take these people on. And that's what we needed. And we still need it. But, you know what? The fact of the matter is, I've known people like this all my life. And they have a tendency to overflate their ego, take way too much credit for the way things are going, and that could be, in a very real sense, his downfall. In a very real sense. Because if this economy tanks, everybody in the world is going to point their finger at him and say, look at this doofus, how stupid he was. Look what he did. He's an asshole. I can hear it now. And I've seen how public opinion changes. I've seen it over and over in these patriot movements. And everybody just wants to point the finger and berate somebody because they done something wrong. I've seen that, and you know, in the patriot community, and I kind of use that term loosely anymore, they're still the best people around. So can you imagine the average American that voted for Trump and the average American that didn't, what they're going to say? They will turn on him so fast with their venom, and Congress will go and impeach him. Now the Senate will have all of that pressure on them by the people. You know, the masses are asses, and I really believe that if this economy tanks, he will get impeached. They'll do it because we're no longer a republic, we're a democracy. You know, theocracy by demon rule, democracy. Yeah, that's what we are now, unfortunately. Okay, I think I explained everything clearly. Merry Christmas to everybody. God bless everybody. You know, I hope everything turns out good. We'll talk to you later.